How's it going? Greetings, Starfighters. Welcome to Mad Science Films. I'm Jimmy P, filmmaker, sexual astronaut, and as ever, I'm joined by my addictive co-host.
Oh, hey, just like crack. James Morrissey, one half of the Mad Science Films team, aka the man with no nickname. Yeah.
There we go. And today, for our very special episode, we are joined by our incredibly attractive good friends, Mr. Thomas Savoury.
It's the lighting, very flattering lighting.
Oh, it's the lighting and the foundation, Tom. And
yes.
a little bit of guy-liner. You look good. You look good.
Bit of guy liner. All right, guys, before we get started, if you do like this video, then please hit that like button. If you've been enjoying the Mad Science content, then why not subscribe to our YouTube channel and stalk us on Facebook. If you have any suggestions after watching this lovely video by the trio, then leave those comments in the comment section down below. Much appreciated.
Just below Tom's boobs.
Whatever he's wearing underneath that desk.
It's not Home Alone t-shirt today.
Oh.
I've realised every time we've done this, it's Home Alone t-shirts. Or the same Home Alone t-shirts.
So normally, guys, this would be where we pimp Little Monster on Prime Video. But what we realised is it's actually coming up to the 5-year anniversary of when Little Monster, the novella, was released. So we've decided to celebrate this. We're actually going to load it onto YouTube. So everywhere, everybody, anywhere can watch it for free. That's right. You haven't got to be a Prime Video member. Fuck Amazon. And you haven't got to be in the UK anymore. So we'll drop links in the show notes when it's ready to be released. But in the countdown to that, we're actually going to be releasing Tom's own documentary, Making a Monster. And we're going to be dropping that and chopping that up into pieces. But Jim, do you want to talk us a little bit through the making of Little Monster?
The making of. It was kind of my idea. We actually made this film. Looking at Jim's book, reading it, loving it, we decided that logistically we could perhaps make this film with very little money. So as a trio, we all chipped in and produced this feature film. We then brought on a lot of some new and some seasoned actors we've worked with before and crew. But yeah, we had a great time. We shot at a house, a hospital. What else we showed? Parks, so some challenging areas. But we had a lot of fun doing it. So what we're going to do, we're going to break this documentary up into 3. We're going to do a pre-production, a production, and a post-production. So you get a little insight to all 3 stages of making Little Monster. Tom, you were the brains behind this documentary. Do you want to give us a little...
Loose to brains, loose to...
Yeah.
No, I can't remember who come up with the idea to do a making of. I think it was just a discussion we had, didn't we? Wasn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's always one of those things, isn't it? We had our very good friend Laura Bainan, who was filming behind the scenes footage. So we had some great behind the scenes footage that we wanted to use. And obviously we thought, you know, as part of doing the weekly show, it would be useful for other filmmakers to have an idea of how we went about making a film, really, wasn't it? So, I think it was a mutual decision.
Personally, I always like the makings of, because it just shows, for people who aren't familiar with filmmaking, maybe people who are, what really goes into it and the challenges you have, doesn't it? Because when people watch a film, they see the end product, don't they? Obviously. And it's all the little bits, you know, and even stories between ourselves, it's everyone's take on what happened, isn't it? And I just think it's always quite interesting, and you're kind of retrospectively looking over something, aren't you? And sort of the time gives you a bit of distance, obviously. And I just think it's really interesting to see everyone else's opinion of how it went and just their own process, because obviously you process things as individuals and then as a collective in a film, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Do you remember, like, when we started, because Tom filmed a series of, like, Talking Heads. Tom, do you remember, like, how long after the shoot that was? It was quite a chunk, wasn't it?
It was a while, wasn't it? Because I remember it must have been at least 6 months. It must have been.
Yeah, if not more. Yeah, because I think we went from shooting it in September 2017, and then we had the premiere in November 2018. So there was a good chunk of time there, and yeah, at least 6 months. If
it
not.
was at least, yeah.
I know it's a while after, because I sold the GH4 we used to shoot the film, and then I bought a Sony A7 III, which we shot the documentary on.
Nerd.
James, you balance your time on the equipment.
My
don't you?
timeline is either what I've eaten takeaway wise or what gear I bought. That's how I can guesstimate time frames, you know.
Very good. There you go. You know what? I believe that was the original Gregorian calendar as well. That's how they worked it out.
It's a bit more interesting having that distance as well, because people have had time to digest what happened, haven't they? And sort of, it gives people to look, having seen the final product,
Process the whole.
Yeah, it's just that processing time, isn't it? Because
also, I think it's good because where we're coming from is very small budget filmmakers as well. It's I think it's even more insightful, I think, for anybody. Like what we've done is very much achievable. You don't need to have big contracts with companies to make the kind of films that we did.
Oh, definitely, man. I mean, if we can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah, and I think this is it. So this documentary, I think, is probably more important, or this kind of documentary is more important for filmmakers, you know, who have very little money and resources. So I think going forward now as a channel for Mad Science Films, we've discussed this importance of reaching out to these you know, indie filmmakers and giving them all the guidance and advice, all the things that we've learned over the years of making films. And we want to do this more now behind the scenes vlogging. Like, so the next shoot we go on to now for features will be vlogged as much as possible. We're bringing somebody especially for that, so then we can, on a, you know, daily basis, weekly basis, just go, look, this is all the stuff that we're doing, this is the mistakes we're making, this is the stuff we're proud of, you know, proper nitty gritty, you know.
That's right. We're going to make all of the mistakes, guys, so you don't have to.
Exactly.
Part 1 of Making a Monster by Mr. Thomas Savoury. This one, yeah, as Jim said, focuses on pre-production and assembling the crew. There we go. All right, you guys. Enjoy!
Hi, I'm James Plumb, writer-director of Little Monster and Sexual Astronaut.
Why did he attack her?
I don't know. What could possibly explain a grown man attacking and biting a little girl?
The idea behind Little Monster was, what if your 5-year-old daughter gets bitten by a zombie vampire type of thing? Do you become Renfield and enable it, or do you become Van Helsing and double tap it in the head? In 2015, I kind of got the idea of the book / film, actually. So it was roundabout when I decided to put filmmaking on the back burner. My youngest daughter had a lot of health issues at the time, and it was just getting too difficult to pull together a crew. And then, you know, if I needed to spend a chunk of time in hospital, then I didn't want to be the one, you know, kind of letting everybody down. So stressing out on the commute home after a rubbish day job I was stuck in, the idea for the whole film / book kind of came to me in one go. Yeah, the idea of what would parents do in a situation where, you know, their loved one was bitten by a zombie. And yeah, it kind of came straight together like that. So within a 15-minute train ride, the idea came fully formed. And I pretty much went straight home, went upstairs and started typing. Around about the same time, good friends of ours, Wayne Simmons and David Moody, talented authors in their own rights, came about and asked me if I'd be interested in contributing to the Year of the Zombie. Year of the Zombie was a book event where they got every month a different author to write a short novella. And they asked me, even though I'd never written anything, but they were fans of my earlier work in terms of the script and the character development, and they thought they'd give me a go.
Hi, my name's James Morrissey. I am one of the producers. I was a cinematographer, co-editor, composer for Little Monster. It's my fault that we took the book Little Monster and then adapted it into the film. Talking with James Plumb, the writer of the book, and then to be the director. of Little Monster. Talking with him whilst working on another project, I just read the book Little Monster and really enjoyed it. And we were kind of looking towards doing another project. And when you're looking for another project, what you're looking for as an independent film producer is a project which has a really good story, but also it's going to be not beyond your realms or not beyond your capabilities financially and logistically to make. And I thought with Little Monster, it was a small ensemble, just the main cast would be just 3 actors and pretty much in one location. It was more than doable.
On a lot of projects we've done, even if the script ends up being about 90 pages, it can end up being about 70 minutes in terms of screen time. Now, traditionally, obviously, it's a page per minute. So in order to kind of cover ourselves, I had a word with Martin, who's the lead actor, but also a scriptwriter in his own right.
I'm Martin Stallard, and I play Gareth in Little Monster. James obviously wrote the novella for Little Monster, and when he turned that into a script, it was probably a little short for feature-length film. So I don't know if he was too close to it to add some more in, or so he just asked me to do a bit of writing work on it. So I added some scenes. They weren't padding, but just to flesh it out a little bit more, and just to beef it up into a film.
In terms of assembling the crew then, after we had this catch up with Jim obviously had been working with Tom Savoury a number of times on a short film they'd done recently called Billy. And so Jim suggested getting Tom involved.
So I'm Tom Savoury, I'm one of the co-producers and camera assistants on Little Monster. So I got involved in the project, and me and James Morrissey had worked on an award-winning short. We worked on a couple of other projects together, and he mentioned Little Monster. James Plumb then sent me the script. Of course, because I just had a son myself, the script really resonated with me, and I really wanted to get involved. So I was then approached to come on board as a producer.
The other co-director on Billy was Sam Tomlinson, who had also done sound. Now, I hadn't actually worked with Sam before, but again, both Jim and Tom kind of spoke very highly of him. So I had a good catch up with him, outlined not only the idea of the film, but the idea of how we're going to sell it and push it and get it out there. And Sam seemed remarkably chilled out and relaxed and kind of on board with it. So that was always a good thing to, kind of have. For the most part, the crew and the cast actually were people that I've been lucky enough to work with before, either on features we've done in the past, or on the web series that I'd worked on earlier in 2017. So the 2 people I kind of brought with me from the web series was Jefferson von Stock, who was the costume designer on the web series I'd worked on, very level-headed and just goes above and beyond the Call of Duty. So I knew I wanted Jeff to come on board with that. Hal Rose was our production designer on Little Monster, and again I'd worked with him on the web series. First time we kind of caught up, he had a copy of the script with in a folder with a series of post-it notes throughout it, and I had a series of questions which helped me then kind of get a better idea of the character just based on what kind of stuff would be, in their house. And then also I've been lucky enough to work with a really talented first AD called Dan Bailey.
My name's Dan Bailey, and I was the first assistant director on Little Monster. You are the sort of timekeeper. You sort of in sort of pre-production, you're scheduling daily, working with the producers regarding scheduling, and you're there sort of do all the logistical side to make sure the director can concentrate on all the creative stuff. So if anything goes wrong, it's kind of your fault, and you have to deal with that.
Dan Bailey, who's a character within himself, really kept the ship running quite nicely. He dealt with James Plumb's hysterics, my moaning very well. He really kind of advocated for good humour, which helps when you're really up against it. And I think everybody felt like a team.
Another new person that we worked with was Lee Morgan, the makeup artist. Never worked with Lee before. Unfortunately, a number of our makeup artists that we had worked with before were booked up during that summer period. It was a popular time to do a lot of filming. But Lee came recommended to us by another member of the crew. Because we'd invested our own money in this, I wanted to make sure that this was not only the smoothest shoot that we had, but also the best looking in terms of production value. Because everybody was on board fairly early on in the process, we were able to call together a number of pre-production meetings, which is something that, to be honest, we hadn't had an opportunity to do a whole lot in the past. And that was great, a great opportunity to really kind of style the look of the film, because we had all of the heads of departments in place. I was really able to talk about the kind of colours that I wanted to see the characters wearing. Obviously, because on a low budget shoot, you can't really afford to kind of repaint a location. But in terms of props and costumes, we were able to work with Jim then in terms of lighting, what we wanted, the overall look to kind of come together. And I think that's really seen really strongly in a lot of the scenes that we've got, particularly the hospital stuff, and a lot of stuff in the bedroom as well. Because Jeff knew what kind of lighting scheme we were going for, she had a clear idea what kind of costume colours both characters were to be in. And also not just in a static point of view, but how those characters develop as you go on. It becomes quite colourful early on, and it gets darker or more black and white anyway in terms of what the characters are wearing as the film goes on, as almost the life and colour is drained away from them. And that's the kind of stuff that we were able to plan in advance. We also involved our makeup artist in pre-production meetings as well, because we wanted to make sure there were no surprises on the day. It can be a stressful environment, a low-budget filmmaking environment, and so we were able to talk about, right down to what kind of shots we'd be looking for in terms of, oh well, we want this in a close-up, so you'll be able to hide, a tube or whatever just out of a shot. And it was that kind of detail that we wanted to kind of make it easy for everybody to know that they were on the same page. Pre-production was kind of the planning stage of Little Monster, kind of helped us be able to make a feature film in 8 days, which I don't think we would have been able to otherwise.